Welcome back. We are learning more about that mysterious packet of clippings the State Department Inspector General handed over to Congress yesterday. Rudy Giuliani tells NBC News he personally gave Secretary of State Mike Pompeo a file of documents that contained allegations against former Vice President Biden. Those documents appear to be unproven, baseless allegations. Giuliani also says he was told that the State Department would take up an investigation of those claims. Joining me now is one of our NBC News reporters on this story, Leanne Caldwell. So, Leanne, what kind of evidence, what do we know from the State Department as to what they did with this packet of, it looked like, I guess, your opposition research packet of sorts from Rudy Giuliani?
Yeah, so Chuck, in this packet that Giuliani directly handed to Pompeo, according to Giuliani, was essentially all the investigative work that Giuliani did to try to, that was this narrative that Giuliani used to discredit the Bidens. It included interviews that he conducted from his office on Park Avenue with two former general prosecutors in Ukraine. One of them was ousted in 2016. The other was ousted just last month. And so the questions that remain, though, are, what did the Secretary of State do with this packet once he received it? Giuliani says that the State Department told him that they would investigate, so that then Giuliani dropped his work. But was there an investigation? We don't yet know. Who did Pompeo give this information to? We don't know that either. So there's been a lot of questions that have been raised, and Democrats are extremely interested in it. And they actually, Senator Menendez, just moments ago, he called for an investigation into this specifically.
I don't understand why the Inspector General never pursued the origin of this. I don't, you know, it's weird that what the Inspector General has done. Did the Inspector General not believe they had jurisdiction to investigate? They just sort of sat on this. I mean, it seems like the minute they turned it over, Rudy Giuliani said, "Oh yeah, I did that." Well, the Inspector General probably could have found that out. No?
We don't know what the Inspector General thought about that when he came to brief members of Congress and their staffs yesterday. We were told that the IG didn't give any claim on what he thought about the documents. He just presented them, said it was his duty. One thing that's interesting, though, is that included in this packet were about 20 pages of emails between State Department officials who were raising alarm bells about this, saying that this was a false narrative, and they were actively working to try to debunk this Giuliani narrative that was being put out there.
Boy, Rudy Giuliani, and already just when you and I were talking, Leanne, the Wall Street Journal broke a story that has,
I saw that.
It was Giuliani behind the ouster of the ambassador. So, and it looks like with a similar, potentially with a similar, again, it's a Journal story. We're taking a look at it, but it has a familiar ring to it. Anyway, Leanne Caldwell,
I know you're read it right now.
Go check that out, and let's go get it confirmed. Thanks very much. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.